So now let's take a graphical look at the various transport components that we have in Exchange 2013. Pulled up a good image here from Microsoft that can help us to see this. Okay, this is an architectural diagram here of the client access server and the mailbox server. So we see the three related services. Front-end transport is accepting SMTP receive from the outside. Okay. Now it can be on an internal network, and it should, but it's going to be connecting or accepting those connections from external SMTP servers, generally speaking, in an unauthenticated fashion. At that point, the server is attempting to locate where the user's mailbox is, and so we have the hub selector, in which it is making sure, or it's identifying the mailbox server that it needs to send to. Okay, and that's going to be on something based on something called a routing destination, and then who's responsible for that routing destination. We'll get into that here in just a bit. So, but I locate a hub transport server. I use the SMTP send function to send into a receive connector on the transport service, which is at the mailbox level. It's from there that the message goes into the submission queue. Then we have the categorizer processing one message at a time, doing all of the different things that we said, validating recipients, checking size limits, checking any sort of delivery restrictions, doing content conversion when necessary. Another one that it does is bifurcates the message or splits it into multiple parts depending on the number of recipients. The categorizer will also determine the route that is going to be taken. That's why we see routing agents. All right, and now I said you had four different ways of getting something into the submission queue. It comes in on the receive connector as one. It is going out a particular send connector would be another. And then the pickup and the replay directory are kind of your behind-the-scenes methods of getting messages into the transport pipeline if necessary. So if the transport service then identifies that the message is to be sent locally, it places it in a delivery queue. This is referred to as a mailbox delivery queue, and it's communicating directly with the mailbox transport service. Okay? And the mailbox transport service, remember, was broken into two parts, the transport delivery service and the transport submission service. So if I send a message down to the server, it comes in on SMTP receive, and then it uses the store driver to deliver to the database via RPC. All right? And you might think, well, wait, I thought we said RPC wasn't used anymore. It's not used out on the network without being bundled within HTTPS. Here, we're not on the network. Okay, this is the server that hosts this database. So, I ultimately, if message comes in on this transport service, we're in a DAG environment. Right now, the active copy of the mailbox database is on another system within the DAG. Then I'm actually going to use SMTP send to send down to the mailbox transport service on the other mailbox server, the one that's hosting the copy. On the way out, you have messages being submitted, and the store driver is going and retrieving those from the mailbox. So essentially, the user saying, hey, here I have mail to pick up, and the transport submission agent goes and gets it. All right, it goes and gets it. It selects a hub, a transport service. Usually that'll just be internally, and then submits it there so that it can go into the submission queue. Now, realize I might be sending to somebody else whose mailbox is also in this database. It still has to go through this, the submission queue, be categorized, placed into a delivery queue, and then sent back. If that looks like it's inefficient, it's not really. It's really more about the fact that we have to have everything feeding through this pipeline in order to be able to implement compliance. If I had some messages that just kind of went around it and did it their own way, then we would have an issue. All right. So hopefully that graphic helps a little bit to understand the various transport components that we've been discussing.